There are a lot of achievements in DBD, 222 to be more specific, and every DLC more achievements get added. So let's imagine that you just bought the game and you want to have every single achievement unlocked. And in my opinion, the worst achievement to get for a console player that wants to get the platinum is Hemophobia. However, if we're talking about the pure difficulty of the achievement, then From the Void She Kills is by far one of the hardest, if not the hardest achievement to earn legit in the entire game. For this achievement, you have to play with the nurse with a specific iridescent add-on that allows you to blink 3 times, and you have to grab the survivor with your 3rd blink. In gameplay, this achievement sounds impossible to get, but since you are a killer, you can cheat this by being friendly with the survivors. Just wait until they start repairing and you can get this achievement very easily. Survivors will most likely cooperate since it's you who decides their fate. It's why, despite it being mechanically one of the hardest achievements to get legit, it has a 2.86% of unlock rate, which is more than some of the other DLC achievements. But going back to Hemophobia, this achievement requires you to escape from the disturbed ward without getting hit a single time. Statistically, a lot of people have this achievement as it has a completion rate of 19.10%, because in reality it is simple to achieve. The problem is when you try to get this achievement by forcing it, because the first issue that you have is to have to play on disturbed ward. So you need to use the Charred Wedding Offering to go to the Crotus Brand Realm, which has 2 different maps, so it's a 50% chance. The second problem is that since this is a survivor achievement, you cannot force it to happen unless a killer disconnects from the start. So the only way to force this achievement is to have a team of friends that you can rely on, play completely immersed with perks like Distortion or Shadow Step, and escape from the match without getting injured once. Luckily, this is not the hardest achievement to get because you can just play, and one day you will achieve it without even knowing. I got the achievement back in September of 2016. So from now on, all of the achievements are part of DLC. You don't need these achievements to get the platinum, but you do need the achievements if you want a 100% completion rate in console and in PC. Evil Incarnate is one of the worst achievements to hunt with a killer, because you have to Mori all survivors with your power as Michael Myers in the same match. First of all, you need to use the Judith Tombstone in order to Mori all survivors. Most players will also combine this with the Fragrant Tuft of Hair, so they have infinite tier 3, and so they don't have any time limit to do it. So the first problem of this achievement is that you need to do it legit. You have to stalk survivors to reach tier 3, and you have to catch them all without any of them escaping through the hatch or exit gates. The achievement itself is very hard, but the problem is that survivors can completely deny this achievement to you if they enter a locker before you attack them. So if you get competent survivors that don't want to give you the achievement, you won't get it. Of course, survivors are not entitled to give the achievement for free, so most likely you would have to play various matches in order to achieve this achievement. Oh, and if a survivor decides to DC, you cannot do the achievement either. So you need 1 iridescent add-on and potentially 2. You either have to use a ward offering or a map that benefits you, and you have to Mori all survivors with your power without any of them disconnecting or entering a locker. Sounds basically impossible. A lot of players don't like grindable achievements in the game as they are just time consuming without any skill. For example, did you know that the achievement The Man Behind the Bush, which requires you to tier up with Myers, has less of a completion rate than Evil Incarnate? And that's because it requires you to tier up Myers for 300 times on Steam, so you have to play him a lot, and at the very least 150 matches where you level up tier 3 once. Well, Triage is one of those achievements that, despite it having a 4% completion rate, which is higher than the Myers one, you completely depend on your teammates in order to progress it, as it has the weirdest requirement in the game. When a survivor is injured far away, heal them 30 times without traveling more than 16 meters. So that means that once a survivor gets injured 16 meters away from you, you cannot leave the 16-meter radius and you have the survivor to come to you so they get healed. Any achievement that depends on the actions of others is automatically worse to grind for actively, as you cannot force this achievement in any way. So Triage, despite being very easy to grind, is possibly one of the most annoying achievements in DBD. So do you remember the Hemophobia achievement that I mentioned at the start? Say hi to its big sibling, Item of Obsession. It's the exact same concept as Hemophobia, only this time, instead of being linked to a map, this achievement is linked to you being the obsession. So you have to be the obsession and don't get injured once in a match. Sounds simple on paper, but the devs for some reason also added the extra requirement that you have to escape the exit gates as the last survivor, not the hatch, and you cannot escape immediately. And this is the main issue of this achievement, because you can have a perfect match being the obsession and be forced to leave early through the exit gate, or be forced to leave through the hatch, or maybe even lose the obsession status because another survivor used Decisive Strike. This is a harder achievement to earn compared to Hemophobia, and it requires a lot of specific situations to happen for you to get it. It can be forced with a Survive with Friends team, so at the very least, it's technically easy to hunt if you have friends that are willing to help you. A lot of the achievements in Dead by Daylight, you can just play normally and get them easily. Sometimes they might require you to use a perk you might not have, and other times they are RNG based and you have to meet certain specific conditions in order to get them. Bless You is an achievement that combines those two for the worst. The idea is simple: bless a hex totem 20 times. The issue is that in order for you to bless a totem, you require a boon perk. None of the free characters in the game come with a boon perk, so at minimum, you either have to get blessed yourself and get a boon totem from the pathetic Shrine of Secrets, or you have to grind for Michaela or Jonah. You can also buy Yoichi and get 2 birds with 1 stone, as you also complete Fleet of Food with the boon totem, as it's one of the rarest achievements in the game. So not only is the Bless You achievement locked behind a grindable part of the game, but also you are now completely dependent on RNG, as you have to match against a killer that is using a hex perk. And these perks are not as popular nowadays as they were in the past. So you have to find the hex first, survivors will most likely hunt for them themselves, and it takes 24 seconds in order for someone to boon a hex totem, so the killer can try and defend it, and they will have plenty of time to interrupt you. It's impossible to force this achievement, so your only option is using a boon perk constantly in your loadout until you match with a killer that has a hex, and wish for the best. Power Moves is one of those achievements that you have to go out of your way to earn, as it requires you to escape 8 matches with no perks and by repairing at least 1 generator. This is very painful, especially as a survivor, since most of the meta survivor perks are very strong, and going perkless as a survivor is worse than going perkless as a killer. It also requires you to repair a generator, so you cannot just depend on other survivors while you are safely hiding as an immersed player. The good thing is that you can get injured, hooked, it doesn't matter. As long as you repair a generator and escape 8 times, the achievement is yours. And the same is applied to Expert and Skilled Generalist, perks that replace the Adepts of Nancy and Steve and now require you to escape 8 matches just by using 2 and 3 general perks respectively. So in practice, it's the same as Power Moves, only that you have to use general perks instead. General perks are those perks that are not teachable, like Kindred, Guardian, Inner Healing, and so on. Again, you have to go out of your way to hunt for these achievements, but if you were lucky and you did the Adept with Nancy and Steve, you don't have to do it and you would have it unlocked. And just like the last 2 achievements mentioned, Tools of the Trade was the replacement for Adept Demogorgon, and it requires you to get 5 merciless wins by using 3 general perks. So perks like Sloppy Butcher, Noed, or Bitter Murmur. I think it's easier for a killer to get this achievement, but you still have to go out of your way in order to earn it. It has become easier now, as getting a merciless win is based on getting a 4K instead of the weird pass system, so now it's better. It is still one of the achievements with the least amount of completion rate, with only a 1.2% on Steam. Say hello to one of the worst achievements in the history of the game, Skilled Huntress. This is the only killer specific achievement in the game that I think is genuinely hard and even hard to grind for. For this achievement, you have to down survivors from across 24 meters 20 times. So you have to be a god sniper with the Huntress in order to get it. But it doesn't count if you just injured, so already this achievement is a problem because you will not get it naturally for months of playing Huntress, since most of the time, injured survivors are close to you since you are actively chasing them. The issue comes from playing on PlayStation, because for some reason, Behavior decided that 20 times was too little, so the requirement now was to do this 100 times. 100 times sniping survivors from 24 meters away. This is by far the worst achievement to hunt for on PlayStation, and most players will simply try to get some progress in friendly matches, but it's still 100 times of downing survivors from afar, and you don't know how far 24 meters is exactly, so most likely you will go as far as possible to get it. I have a personal theory that the devs accidentally mistyped an extra 0 on this achievement, because this is the only achievement on PlayStation that is bigger than on PC, which makes zero sense. At the very least, we have to be grateful that this is not required for the Platinum achievement. This is by far the achievement with the least amount of unlocks, and the worst part is that this was an achievement that has been in the game since 2017. So that means that to this day, there are veteran players that do not have this unlocked yet. Even on Steam, this achievement has a 1.3 completion rate, which is very low for a character that comes free with the game. The point of achievements is to be sometimes a hard challenge to spice the game up, or just a simple task that you have to complete just by playing the game. Happy Holidays is the second type of achievement, as all it requires you to do is open 100 mystery boxes from the Blood Web. Mystery boxes, just like the name says, are boxes that give you a random offering or add-on, and sometimes in Christmas or other special events, these give out special event rewards in order to spice the Blood Web up. The problem is that since November of last year, mystery boxes have been completely removed from the game as part of the Blood Web optimization, so this means that Happy Holidays is the only achievement that has become impossible to get as of the release of this video. The only way to get this is by waiting and playing during an event, and the last time we got mystery boxes was in the Moonlight Burrow Lunar New Year event between the 24th of January and the 7th of February. It's not a hard achievement at all, but it can become very annoying for players that start to hunt achievements now. There is a high chance that mystery boxes will return on the anniversary event, so that will be the only other time where you can earn this achievement. One of the things that I like to do in my channel is talking about the monetization and the grind of the game, and how it's similar to a Chinese MMO despite it being a paid game upfront. And what better way to remind you than with a video dedicated to achievements. So if you want to get all of the Adepts of the game, which require you to play with DLC characters, it would take you a total of 243,000 iridescent shards in order to grind for each character, or around 30 hours per each. And since you cannot get licensed content for free, you will have to pay around 80 bucks in order to buy all licensed chapters. So the 100 completion rate of Dead by Daylight is crazy expensive when you think about it. If you are an achievement hunter and you want to complete DBD 100%, I recommend staying away from it unless you have a lot of money. Achievement hunters are some of the players I have the most respect, and I will always congratulate someone doing the Adept and getting it against me. So I think I am safe to speak on behalf of all achievement hunters that Outbreak Breakout is by far one of the worst achievements to get in Dead by Daylight. So unlike the majority of achievements in this game that are grindable, you can technically cheat most of them by forcing those situations to happen with a survive with friends or playing friendly as a killer. For example, the Quick Draw achievement requires you to interrupt survivors' cleansing totems, which is hard on paper and statistically it's one of the least unlocked public achievements, but you can just grind for it by being friendly. and it's only 10 times. Outbreak Breakout requires you to open the exit gates of the RPD maps and escape successfully 20 times. If this was only 1 or 5 times, then this achievement wouldn't be in this video, but 20 times. Why? And the worst part is that you have to be the one opening the exit gate. It doesn't count if you escape via hatch or if other survivors open the gates for you. You have to be the survivor opening the exit gates. So not only do you have to use a RPD offering every single time and hope that nobody else brought a different map offering, but you also have to survive the match and activate the exit gates yourself and escape. This is a miserable achievement to hunt because of how time consuming it is. It's not guaranteed, it's impossible to force, so you have to get it legit, and it is by far one of the hardest achievements to earn in the game. The fun thing is that just like the Hemophobia achievement, you can just get this by playing, even if it takes months to get it. It's hunting for this achievement in specific what makes it so bad and difficult, and what also make it one of the least unlocked achievements in Dead by Daylight. Before we continue with the rest, I want to talk about one of the OG achievements that most veterans will remember, and that is, where did they go? This was the hardest achievement to earn in Dead by Daylight in my opinion, as unlike any of the achievements that are currently in the game, this one required you to survive with friends that are coordinated enough to all escape from the hatch at the same time. This meant that you had to be very cooperative, with one survivor having a key at minimum, and maybe another survivor having a map so they can track the hatch. Back in the days, the hatch would spawn with all generators completed, as the hatch spawning mechanic was completely different than it is now. Anyone who had this achievement was a legend. Now you might be wondering where did they go achievement go, and sadly, since the hatch mechanic was completely different and changed now, this achievement was retired and instead replaced with another one. And the achievement that spiritually replaced it is Left 4 Dead. Probably one of the most annoying achievements to get legit as a survivor. It requires you to be the last survivor alive, repair a generator, and escape the match through the exit gates, which is extremely hard to do nowadays. You have to be the last survivor alive, which is already hard as it doesn't depend on you. There has to be at least one generator that you have to repair, but the problem is that if you are the last survivor alive, the killer will most likely close the hatch before you're able to finish the gen, which automatically completes all the generators in the match and forces you to leave. So unless you have a specific build, or you save the generator to 99% before the killer closes the hatch, this achievement is impossible. And the worst part is that you cannot complete the generator and leave to the hatch with a key. You must open an exit gate, and in some maps this is a very hard thing to do, as killers can easily patrol both exit switches with ease. Even sometimes they can watch it without having to move from the spot. So you have to run a specific perk build, you need a specific situation, you have to be the last survivor alive with at least one generator left, and you have to open an exit gate and escape. This is, in my opinion, the hardest achievement in terms of skill and setup. Not even Outbreak Breakout is as bad as this bad boy, because at the very least, you have the chance to just complete it passively in some months. This is why this achievement is called like that, because by the time you complete this, your family will have left you for dead. And those are, in my opinion, the hardest achievements to hunt for in DBD. Let me know if you agree. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.